Indiana's Bobby Knight has had 14 consecutive winning seasons doing it his way. Walt Hazzard was a free-spirit player at UCLA, but he's more serious as their head coach. The Hoosiers' Uwe Blab had a 24-point effort in the semis against Tennessee, while the Bruins' Brad Wright comes off a 23-point effort against Louisville. Blab, a first-team All-Big Ten performer, protects the paint for Knight's Hoosiers, while Brad Wright puts his stamp of rejection on Walt Hazzard's UCLA Bruins. It's the Indiana Hoosiers and the UCLA Bruins in the NIT Championship. The NIT, the National Invitation Tournament, began back in 1938 and has been going strong ever since. Now more popular than ever, the NIT again features a winning tradition and two great teams. Tonight, the Bruins of UCLA meet the Indiana Hoosiers. The 1985 NIT is being brought to you by...
Thank you, Jimmy Myers, very much. I'm Howard David along with Bill Raftery. You look at Indiana, you look at UCLA, you get a combination of the Greyhounds against the Junkyard Dogs.
Well, there's no question that Bobby Knight will use the clock tonight to make sure UCLA doesn't get out of the gate and run the basketball. I'm sure they'll try and push the ball up the floor at every opportunity.
At the very top of the show, we matched up two key figures in tonight's game. Uwe Blab of Indiana, Brad Wright of UCLA. Blab on Wednesday night had a very good night against Tennessee.
Well, he led the Big Ten in field goal percentage, and when you get these shots that close, your percentage will go up. Very tough inside, has big height against Tennessee. Tonight he's got a bigger man in Brad Wright, who led that Pac-10 in block shots, so that's the confrontation.
Brad Wright has had the influence of former UCLA great Sidney Wicks.
Well, as you and I both know from talking to the coaches, Sidney has been vociferous. He has chastised Brad Wright. Of course, this is the first year with Stork Gray gone that he's had to patrol that middle all alone.
Here's how the two centers in question played on Wednesday night. As you can see, they both had outstanding nights.
Close, and of course, if anything, Brad Wright may get in foul trouble if Blab challenges him, so you might look for Indiana to do that early.
Somebody's got to bring the ball up the floor for Indiana. It's got to be Steve Alford.
Well, he may bring it up occasionally, but he likes to tee it up frequently. They'll run a lot of bumps. He's got a lot of motion here with great shooting range. He'll attract the defense. They do a lot of pump faking, and of course, that stroke has been honed in the backyard with his daddy watching him.
Speaking of the backcourt for UCLA, and this year he's playing point guard, the Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year, Nigel Miguel.
Well, he's settled now. He's finally getting the minutes. He knows his position. He's played all over. Now he runs the show. As you mentioned, he shut a lot of great people out in that Pac-10. He's very comfortable and relaxed at the point position.
Wednesday, when the semifinals took place, we talked about four coaches putting it all together. Tonight it's two, both with gold medals. Knight as a coach and Walt Hazzard as a player in '64.
Well, both of them have had good experiences as players, as well as they've been in the NCAA as well, the championship. But two solid people, the defense on the one end, of course, the pushing the ball up the floor on the other.
Now, during the night, we're going to be breaking away to give you updates on other things that are going on around the world of sports. Let's go to our sports bureau. And Madison Square Garden would not be right if we didn't have the public address announcer, John Condon.
Once again to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. This game is for the championship of the 48th Annual National Invitation Tournament. Here are the starting lineups. At forward for UCLA, number 31, Reggie Miller. At forward for Indiana, number 32, Steve Isle. At forward for UCLA, number 53, Gary Melanson. At forward for Indiana, number 30, Todd Meyer. At center for UCLA, number 32, Brad Wright. At center for Indiana, number 33, Uwe Blab. At guard for UCLA, number 12, Montel Hatcher. At guard for Indiana, number 22, Stu Robinson. At guard for UCLA, number 25, Nigel McGale. And at guard for Indiana, number 12, Steve Alford. And here are the coaches. For UCLA, Walt Hazard. And for Indiana, Bobby Knight. The officials, Joey Sylvester, Bob Diaz.
The tap-off for tonight's championship game of the 48th NIT coming your way after these messages. Here's the opening tap of the 48th NIT. Todd Meyer for Indiana. Stu Robinson, Steve Alford, Uwe Blop, and Steve Isle. This is Isle 32 inside to Blop. Here's Meyer from the corner.
Good pressure. Of course, they look like they're concentrating on Uwe down low.
Hoosiers take the lead 2-0. Indiana looking for their 20th win of the season. UCLA is 20-12. This is Melanson for the Bruins.
He needs a good ball game. Of course, Indiana in their standard man-to-man.
Here's Nigel Miguel with the first shot for the Bruins, and we're even at 2. All court pressure applied by the Bruins. We expected it. Here's Robinson. Ahead it goes up to Todd Meyer.
So you can look for them to beat the pressure, get it over the timeline, and then run their set.
Meyer, Alfred, Robinson, Isle, and inside Uwe Blop. Robinson inside to Blop.
They're going to him right away. They're going to try and get him on the scoreboard and also challenge right. UCLA is going to be tested with their helping out.
It worked so effectively for Indiana in the semifinals to go to Blop. Montel Hatcher squares it at 4.
Now, the one thing you have to understand, those jump shots look pretty. Can you make them all ball game? And that's what Indiana tests you. They want you to take the deep one.
Live by the jump shot, you die by it, right? Beautiful move by Steve Isle of the Hoosiers, and it's 6-4 Indiana.
Of course, Bobby Knight may deliberate more than anybody on a starting lineup. You have no idea who he's going to start. He says he needs one lineup to handle the press, one to rebound, one to shoot. That's 15.
He started 21 different lineups this year. That is the first missed shot of the game.
Good screen out by Uwe Blop on Brad Wright.
Olympic gold medalist Steve Alford, only a sophomore. Stu Robinson with room. And it is Brad Wright with a rebound.
Not the kind of shot Indiana likes.
Reggie Miller, good baseline move during the course of the game. You will see it quite often. He's got excellent moves. Here's Miller.
That's 4 deep shots now.
Bit of a trend developing, perhaps.
Well, Wright's out of the game.
6-4 Indiana. Here's Alfred. Might have been goaltending, but the officials say no. Here comes Nigel Miguel, right side Hatcher.
Brad Wright down to half court saying, slow it down, get me in the game.
You know, if you do that and you play for Bobby Knight and walk up the floor, you're gone.
You won't walk anymore.
Or you'll be a lot shorter than when you started. Walt Hazard, in his first year as the head basketball coach for UCLA, played for the master, John Wooden, says he still consults with him.
Well, they run their practices the same, and of course, he's got this UCLA team at a level mentally that clubs or coaches love to have their clubs.
Hatcher and Alford in a classic matchup. Bobby Knight said that Alford took a whole season to learn the things he can and cannot do.
You see constant, there's a push-off by Nigel Miguel. A little frustrated, wanted to get to Steve Alford, but Indiana will run a lot of up-and-down picks, occasionally across the lane, but the motion is what wears you down as a pensive Bob Knight checks in with Walt Frazier. Or Walt Hazard.
Yeah, Walt Hazard stole one of Lou Carnesecca's old sweaters.
No, that's a pretty one.
That's true.
Stylish.
He's got a foul underneath, and it's going to be against Brad Wright.
No, I think they got it on Uwe.
Oh, that's right. Joe Sylvester making the call. The referee is joined by Bob Diaz and Gene Manji, the three officials.
Yeah, Uwe Blab just ran over to Bobby Knight. He saw him stand up. He thought he wanted him. He didn't. He wanted Stu Robinson.
It's like a reprieve when you find out it's not you that he wants, right?
I'll tell you, Bobby didn't pack too much coming to New York. He's had that sweater on since I met him Tuesday.
I might have this sweater on since the beginning of the season. Nigel Miguel, this is Miller inside. This is Miguel now, and Melanson with a short pop.
And right away the pull. 1-2-1-1. Trying to trap in the corners.
Isle.
They didn't have anybody in the middle. Steve Alford just filled.
Here's Alford. And Meyer. Todd Meyer getting a start tonight. 6'8" sophomore. Here's Isle. And Alford. Long range. Long rebound. Montel Hatcher broken up by Meyer. And they're going to call it a jump ball. It will go over to UCLA on possession.
Loose ball drill.
15:53 remaining. First half. They have come out shooting on both sides. Indiana and UCLA are square at 6 in this 48th National Invitation Tournament Championship. Senior.
He was yanked Wednesday. Sat most of the game. Was very unhappy walking out of the building. But he's got to give them some good board play and some scoring.
We are tied at 6. Brad Wright being given room by Block. Nigel Miguel tries the jumper, and he's got it.
You may have seen him land on the floor. That's the checkout taught at Indiana. Challenge the shot and turn and stick it.
Alford giving the job of breaking the pressure. Almost loses it. Puts it up right away. And followed his own rebound. Nice play by Steve Alford.
That was as unattractive a trip as you'll see. He fumbled the ball, should have lost it, and I thought maybe should have hit Uwe Blab underneath.
Montel Hatcher's jumper is short, and Alford with the rebound. Bobby Knight said we're not good enough to get into a running game, but they're not averse to it either.
So when Alfred's on the same side with Blob, they've got something going because they can't help out as much. They can't drop back off of him.
We are tied at 8. You'll notice if you have been watching previous in the last few years NITs, you saw the red, white, and blue striped ball. They don't use that anymore. And quite frankly, I'm glad.
Well, you probably have a few at home. Inside again, Brad Wright. Grabbing, the two of them have been banging one another.
First foul on Brad Wright.
Earlier, Blob got the call. This time, the little mix-up and the call. And of course, two centers saying, who's it on?
Alfred triggers the inbound. This is Stu Robinson.
A little double screen. And right there, you can see how tight they'll play Alfred. Montel Hatcher looking to help out.
Here's Block with the hook.
So now that's a good little play for them. It's going to be a foul.
Foul on Steve Isle. Down
low on Steve Isle, but they've got plenty of room then to dump the ball in when Alfred is in the corner or the same side as the center.
UCLA, Indiana, 48th NIT Championship Final at Madison Square Garden. We are tied at 8. Montel Hatcher got a piece of the body. Blocking foul.
Foul by Steve Alford.
Of course, these are the kind of fouls you don't like to see, and of course, Indiana likes, and they'll channel the ball at baseline. They don't like to give fouls. They like to keep you out of the one-on-one.
Melanson is short, but Wright with the rebound. Stripped away by the Hoosiers and saved by Steve Alford. This is Steve Isle. Now Robinson with the jumper. In and out. And chased down by Isle. Here's Alford right up with it. It's short, and Melanson with the rebound.
A step out too far maybe for Steve.
Reggie Miller putting the move on Isle.
So they put the pressure on you by running the ball down, backing you in.
On the turnaround, Brad Wright. And blocked over the top, the rebound, but he was fouled. Inside with the body, apparently.
Because I thought, if anything, Reggie Miller was in front. I'm not so sure I think Gene Manji, yes, he got it right. He pointed the wrong way, which occasionally will happen. And
I
thought he was confused.
And Bobby Knight is going to make sure he's confused. He's going to really confuse him. Bobby with his hands on his hips saying, you made the call one way. Why are you bringing it back?
Bobby thought he had a gift.
It is not Christmas in March.
He knew that Blob was the fouler, but he's got to inform the officials
that he's here,
that he's alive.
Brad Wright in the paint, and we're going to get a traveling violation against Brad Wright of UCLA. Wright fourth in the Pac-10 in rebounding this past year. UCLA giving pressure to the Hoosiers. 13:24 to play. First half, we are deadlocked at 8. This is Todd Meyer.
See, the tough thing for Indiana is they'll keep the pressure, and then they'll back it out and get in their set. They don't get those cheap baskets.
That was an easy basket for Steve Eiley. Gave him the room. He took it inside. And Indiana goes back out in front 10-8.
UCLA gambling. Oh, quickie, huh?
Hatcher.
That was a 5-second shot.
Going up or coming down?
Oh, they rushed it up. Ooh, I get nervous when I see those quickies.
Todd Meyer, Steve Alford inside the block. Finds Robinson with room.
UCLA is almost zoning around Block, trying to keep him out of the game. And some of the other Indiana people, if they can light it up, it's going to cause Walt Hazzard to do some changing.
Indiana with 6 buckets, or 6 points in a row. Hatcher makes it a 12-10 game, Indiana.
They have to go inside, though. I'm convinced you can't do that all ball game against a good defensive club.
This is Steve Alford, guarded by Reggie Miller.
See everybody down underneath.
Quick outside, kicked out by Block into Stu Robinson, and it is a 14-10 Indiana lead. We have 12 minutes remaining, first half.
All the shooters salivate. Oh, my goodness, are they popping them from deep?
Oh, was that wet when it came down?
Reggie never played in the church league. Below ceilings.
Meyer sustaining the jump shot. Wants it in a little closer. There's Meyer. Melanson. And they leave it up to Hatcher. This is Nigel Miguel. Nigel right away. Wow. They're not coming down with any kind of rhyme or reason. It's just get it down, and whoever gets the ball second puts it up.
They're not running any of the normal sets. The UCLA cut, the shuffle cut off the high post. They're just teeing it up deep. And Stevens.
The game of horse. 16-12 Hoosiers with 11:10 remaining first half.
There aren't going to be any cuts or bruises underneath.
No prisoners, huh? Reggie Miller from long range. And Block is there. Here's Robinson.
I've had 6 O's and it's early in the game.
Alford off the clock. 18-12 Indiana. That might get the normally reserved Walt Hazzard up on his feet.
He's
going to make a substitution, and it might be Corey Gaines.
That's who it is. Now they're running something. A little double screen for Reggie Miller.
Here's Reggie. And Robinson with good inside position on Nigel Miguel.
I'll tell you, the shot chart is going to be all out the perimeter.
Here's Block. Meyer. Robinson. Alford.
Well, he's using that jab step very well. Bob Knight said he just started at the end of the year.
Last touch by UCLA, and a timeout is called for. With 10-12 remaining. 18-12, Indiana leading UCLA. And out of the Sports Bureau in for Gaines, Kelvin Butler in for UCLA, Darryl Thomas and Cree Smith in for Indiana. We'll see who Walt Hazzard and Bobby Knight has pulled out of the game. Looks like Todd Meyer and Uwe Block comes out of the game, which is a little bit of a surprise early on.
Well, maybe he's trying to make them play some honest defense. You never know. Or he picked up a check out that an assignment he missed, then Bobby doesn't waste time.
Melanson and Hatcher are on the bench now for UCLA. This is Cree Smith, 42.
Say, right now, Alfred's got control of Nigel Miguel. He's in good shape, getting free.
Nice pass inside by Alfred. Cree Smith lost control instead of going right up with it. Here's Miller. 2-on-2, and he wants it all. He gives it off to Miguel, but a foul is called, a charge on Reggie Miller.
He got in too deep without anything developing, and that happens occasionally. He tried to slide, ended up with the charge. Walt Frazier not liking it, but here he is. He didn't give it up. He got in a little too deep. Good call. And, of course, Indiana loves to put a little extra theatrics into that play.
Walt Hazzard, the head basketball coach at UCLA. Bobby Knight, of course. What a great job he has done at Indiana. 14 seasons. He's never had a loser in Bloomington. Stu Robinson and Corey Gaines of the matchup. Here's Alford, founded by Nigel Miguel. Cree Smith put it on the floor twice. Double dribble. You can't do that.
Walt Hazzard up. I got him on the NIT all-time team, right? Slipped in Frazier's name on him. But Walt was telling me he felt his club developed after the death march of December. They became mature and poised, and they know how to win. And you get that going, that's what turned their whole season around.
Look at the death march to Paul and Memphis State and BYU.
Oh.
John Brad Wright with the jam off the air ball, thrown up by Corey Gaines. 18-14 Hoosiers.
Cree Smith put his head back. He didn't even look at the bench because he missed that assignment.
Well, the stare alone can kill you if you play for Bobby. Said earlier this week that sometimes you regret some of the things you do even when the chair is halfway across the floor. I applaud him for making light of it. There's no point in being serious with that anymore. He made a mistake, and he's smart enough to see it and joke about it, and I applaud him for that.
Boy, are you backing off your original stand?
No. It's not a question of my original stand. Why do you want to get me in trouble at night? There are a lot of fans in Bloomington watching. Robinson, long range, the shot is no good.
Ooh, tough rebound.
Followed by Isle is no good, and we get a whistle and a foul.
I think it's on Darryl Thomas, but that's the first time I really saw Brad Wright go up big.
Headache number 4, 12 and a half for Bobby Knight.
Is that man enjoying his work?
I asked him yesterday, how would you finish this sentence? Bobby Knight is a coach that. And he finished it by saying that he's going to love to go fishing in April and May.
Well, he deserves it, I would think, huh? Pretty good summer run.
Well, old pal is Bill Parcells, the giant football coach, is here, and they do a little of that together, a little freshwater fishing. Meanwhile, UCLA is fishing to get even right now. They're down 18-14.
They've been looking inside more now. Tough shot and
ready. Nigel Miguel, and it's 18-16 Indiana. For a defensive player of the year from the Pac-10, he can fill it up pretty good.
Well, they all can do that. They're not afraid.
They better hurry up before the 10 seconds expire. They break the pressure, and here's Alford. Nice dish off, and a good play coming back by Nigel Miguel. Not a bad foul, although the fans underneath that basket thought that Nigel had ball and not body.
I think this is an anticipation call. I thought it was all ball. I'm in accordance with the house. He went up strong. Nice-looking dish, though. That's one of the few times Indiana's taken it all the way, and I think you have to do this against a team that presses. Good reaction. And say it again, Sam.
Nigel had his hand on Spalding all the way.
Good call. A bad call.
Depending on who you are. Darryl Thomas, 6'7" sophomore at 224.
Hey, Walt Hazzard has had a few good gripes, voicing his opinion.
18-16, Indiana leading with 7:45 to play first half. It is a 19-16 Indiana lead with 7:45 remaining. First half of play at the 48th National Invitation Tournament Championship. The UCLA bench and the UCLA cheerleaders have come cross-country. We're kind of glad they did. They've always had outstanding looking ladies at UCLA.
Your wife is here. Be careful. A lot of coaches used to go to the NCAA finals just to see what had developed in the cheerleading squad.
Well, that's as you got older, you started to pay more attention to that instead of to your job. That's one of the reasons why you're here.
Where's the seat I had? I couldn't see the floor. Had me up top all the time.
Corey Gaines of UCLA, Nigel Miguel, the backcourt. Kelvin Butler, and this is Brad Wright. And Corey Gaines.
Now, see, that's okay. They ran that. This is going to go against UCLA to push off on Reggie Miller. Reggie upset, threw that ball away. But they ran their cut. They got a nicer looking shot, or they could have dumped it in low. And that's what they have to do. They got away from it early. Maybe they're settling down.
Reggie Miller with 2 personal fouls. Each team has 5 team fouls. Again, the all-court pressure, which has been predominant throughout the first part of this ball game. Still 7:25 to play. Bad pass and a break for Indiana. Chris Smith made a bad pass and was chased down by Todd Meyer, who's back in the ball game.
Say, Bob Knight's one of those coaches that he'll take somebody out. Blob is in my mind right now. He'll let him sit. I mean, it doesn't concern him. He expects the other people to perform, and normally they do.
Lop on the bench with 2 points. Robinson's jumper is way off the mark, but finds his own rebound in the corner. Lop, who had 24 on Wednesday in the semis, has 2 thus far, and the corner jumper is good. On number 42, Chris Smith.
I'll tell you what they're able to do, Indiana. They're able to turn the corner on their passes. I thought UCLA would jump into the lane and steal a couple. They haven't thus far.
Montel Hatcher getting ready to check in for UCLA. This is Kelvin Butler with the spin. Gaines, Reggie Miller. Nigel Miguel.
Another deepie. You mentioned Kelvin Butler. Walt Hazard calls him his Pillsbury Doughboy.
Miguel with 4 baskets for 8 points. What'd you say Wednesday night? He makes total use of his per diem. He spins in and out. The jumper and the good follow by Isle. He drew the foul on Brad Wright.
Number 2.
And that is 2 on Brad Wright.
And a T on Reggie Miller. He threw the ball before. Jody Sylvester at the other end. The foul you'll see here, the reach over the top. Brad Wright ends up doing it too. Could have been Kelvin Butler earlier. But Reggie Miller threw the ball down the one end, and this time he did the same thing. Jody Sylvester straightening it out.
Walt Hazard did not know what the technical foul was for. He was asking what the T was for.
Reggie got away with one at the other end.
Yeah.
And Jody let him slide. And he came back here with a little nonsense, a little whooping.
Technical foul shot is no good.
Now these will be the, no, you're right.
Misses them both. Isle only a 67% free throw shooter.
Okay, those are the
2
right, exactly.
fouls. The 2 free throws on the fouls. Now Steve Alford, obviously the man that you have on the line for technical fouls, a 90% shooter.
Now my question though was Brad Wright went over the top. I thought it should have been a non-shooting foul. That was my concern. How about you?
Well, I thought he got him with the body before he got into the act of shooting. Bobby Knight and Walt Hazard surveying the situation with 6:14 remaining. First half, 22-18 Indiana. First game, the consolation, Tennessee blew out Louisville 100-84. Tennessee ran the Cardinals ragged. Here's Stu Robinson. Chris Smith in the corner.
Slow down game, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of a slowdown. They scored more points in the first half than the Knicks on the same floor.
Chris Smith with the pick. Now, Indiana does pick solidly. And occasionally they might get in a step late.
Melanson comes back in for UCLA. Gary Melanson, number 53, the senior. And Brad Wright goes out at the time that Uwe Block comes in.
Now, of course, Sidney Wicks is waiting for Walt Hazard to finish because his concern now is they may go in deep quickly.
Uwe Block has been on the bench for 7 minutes. He has 1 field goal for 2. And Craig Jackson is in the game for UCLA in place of Brad Smith. You'll see that bandage on his left hand. That's from a broken bone in his left hand. Hatcher from the corner.
But defensively, Jackson's ended up with Uwe Block, so he's going to have his hands full. You'll see a lot more collapsing and helping out by UCLA.
Indiana lost to UCLA in the 1973 semis of the NCAAs. The Bruins went on and won the title, and then Indiana returned the favor. They beat UCLA in the 76 semis and went on to win the championship with what may have been Bobby Knight's best team. Inside pass and a beauty.
Nice look. They took advantage. Gary Melanson had switched off with Jackson, and he sealed his man off for the loop. Nice heads-up play. Good pass.
Said the Indiana team in 76 might have been the best team Bobby had.
Could very well be.
Melanson hit the side of the backboard, I thought, and Alford now with a rebound. 24-20 Indiana with 4:50 remaining first half. Howard David with Bill Raftery, Jimmy Myers, Pat Scanlon, and a cast of 15,000 at the Garden. Block mishandling the ball, gives it off. This is Meyer, and he was fouled, but an offensive foul. It is on Meyer. Action getting a little bit raggedy, and yes, Bobby, you do not like to see him play like that.
Of course, Blob lost control of the ball, and when you're that big and you're in the center there, even though he made a nice pass, the man had somebody in front of him. Maybe he should have shot the basketball.
4:35 remaining. First half. The NIT Championship Final, 48th edition.
That's the guard around. Back cut, guard around.
Reggie Miller posting up on the turnaround.
Getting it in deeper.
24-22, Hoosiers by a basket. The pressure continues, and Robinson is doing an excellent job in breaking the press. Alford off the cut.
Montel
Basket and doing the swan dive, trying to think that maybe there was a foul afterwards.
Good down screens. Montel Hatcher got caught. Nobody helped out.
26-22 Hoosiers. 3:50 remaining. First half.
There's a little double screen for Miller.
Nigel. The rebound missed by Jackson, and Block comes down with a loose ball.
Oh, some bodies. Todd Meyer getting a pound or two.
Pound and a pounding. This is Steve Isle. Now Robinson.
With Blob. Should be able to get it into him.
Here's a steal by Miguel and a bad pass by Meyer. Nigel Miguel with a jam and a foul.
With authority. Todd Meyer maybe used bad judgment there. The one thing with the perimeter passing, you've got to be careful when you kick it across, and this one is a attractive send it in, and he's very fortunate there, Migel, that he didn't break his leg. He got it. There's the pass. See, across the top, it's a dangerous pass. You've got to show it, be crisp with it. You can't give a lazy pass, and Meyer would have been better off just letting him go.
Bobby Knight did a great thing. As Nigel Miguel walked in front of the Indiana bench, Bobby came over and patted him and said, "Are you all right?" Darrell Thomas back in the game, number 24 for Indiana. Todd Meyer goes to the bench, unhappy with himself and getting some advice from the coaches. Joby Wright, one of the coaches for Indiana, played on the Indiana team about 72 and 72 or 71. I forget. I think it was 71 when Indiana was here at the Garden for the NITs.
Because Nigel hurt his leg, but his arm seemed to bother him more.
He was shaking off his hand and telling Joe Sylvester, the referee, you know, I got to loosen this up a little bit. He's having a fine first half. 11 points total. And a timeout is called for with 3:12 remaining. First half of play at the 48th NIT Championship.
To you, gentlemen.
Okay, Jimmy, good to see Butch Carter. He looks like he can still play.
He can shoot it, can he?
Yes, he can.
Coach Knight. He's put a few out there.
Looks like he still played at the collegiate level. Of course,
Gary Malone, excuse me, is really banging Uwe Blob. Doing a good job, giving up 5 or 6 inches. There's the seal off. Good play.
Oh, and Blob is hacked.
Good pass by Stu Robinson. They played catch on the one side. And, of course, with the height differential, it's very tough. Now, there's the seal. He's pinned his man. Now the lead. Good-looking pass by Stu Robinson, but he set it up by getting him up on top of the box 3 or 4 feet.
Melanson only his first personal foul. Block a 74% free throw shooter. Indiana leading at 27-25 with 2:49 remaining. First half. Long rebound by Hatcher. Nigel Miguel being hounded by Robinson. Here's the turnaround by Jackson. Nobody underneath for the rebound but Block.
Well, that's their center usually. The high post man, 2-1-2 set. Boy, one pass and bang, not good.
2-point Indiana lead with 2:25 to play first half. This is Robinson. Isle inside to Darrell Thomas, and followed by Block, and he missed it too hard, but fouled over the top by number 25, Nigel Miguel.
Now you can see, Howard, that Uwe Blob in another couple of years is going to be a finished product. He's not finishing the shots. Darrell Thomas doing a good job passing the ball to Uwe. And right there's the chippy. And, of course, they are whacking one another down low. And see how disgusted he is with himself? At one time, he's going to catch up his body with his mind.
Corey Gaines in the game now for UCLA. Nigel Miguel, Bill, with 3 personal fouls. That could loom very big. All right, Indiana with a 2-point lead as we approach the 2-minute mark remaining first half. Howard David with Bill Raftery at courtside for the 48th NIT Championship final. At halftime, the presentation of the Kodak Man of the Year Award to a good buddy of yours by the name of Louis Carnesecca. He's not here. We recorded him earlier this week at the press conference. Louis, of course, in Lexington.
He'll be busy
for a big game tomorrow against Georgetown. That was Melanson who created it. Here's Corey Gaines in the lead to Reggie Miller. Open man is Montel Hatcher.
Good ball movement there. Right around the horn.
And we are tied at 27. Here's Alford with 1:15 to go. First half. Keep in mind they have the 45-second shot clock in use during the NIT, unlike the NCAA tournament. Robinson, and a good play by Reggie Miller, but Robinson right there. Heil in the paint, rejected by Melanson.
That was a strong move. That's the kind of basketball you enjoy, challenging those inside people there.
Substitution for Indiana. Todd Meyer is back in the game, and Uwe Block goes to the bench. Block now with 5 points. And Steve Isle to the free throw line for 2 shots. You'll notice on the UCLA uniform, if you get up close, particularly at Corey Gaines in this picture, you see what looks to be on his shoulder strap, a black piece of cloth. That is in memory of the wife, the late wife of John Wooden, Nell Wooden, who passed away, what, Bill, about a week and a half or so ago.
Yes. Apparently she had a very tough time in the latter stages. Of course, our condolences to John and his family.
29-27, Indiana leading UCLA with 50 seconds remaining. First half, Miller with a bomb. I'm sure that ball is not dry. It can't be.
It's going to be cold anyhow.
We are tied at 29 with 38 seconds to go. First half, shot clock obviously is off. This is Steve Isle. Meyer and Alford now looks up at the clock, sees 25. We get a whistle and a foul away from the ball. Gary Melanson of UCLA.
Well, he's been banging people, and it's not the kind of play. Coach Hazard's not enjoying that. A cheapie. He's had a couple, hasn't he? Really not part of the play.
Third personal foul on Gary Melanson. Nigel Miguel on the bench with 3. And Hazard's got to go to the bench and bring on the truck, Kelvin Butler.
And Brad Wright with 2.
Brad Wright has 2 personal fouls. Oh, that's right. So Melanson sits down with 1 field goal for 2. And Todd Meyer at the line. Misses a free throw, and it is Craig Jackson with a rebound. They'll set it up for 1 with 20 seconds remaining until half.
Now, UCLA hasn't had a good half, yet they're right there. And get organized at halftime, they can put a lot more pressure on this Indiana club.
They got 2 men, 2 starters in foul trouble. You're right, they've not had a good half, and they're right in it. With 5, Reggie Miller. Short. With 2, with 1, Alford with a long heave, and it'll be off the mark. That's the way a championship game is supposed to be. At halftime, everybody is all even. Tied at 29 as we go to our halftime festivities. First half scoring statistics, the leader of the game is Nigel Miguel with 11 points. Neither team shooting particularly well. Indiana a little bit better than UCLA. UCLA led the Pac-10 in field goal percentage against. Very tough to score on and tough to shoot on. The other key statistic is that 2 of the starters for UCLA, Melanson and Miguel, each have 3 personal fouls. If they come out on the floor, you Bobby Knight, and say, let's take it to them and get the 2 key guys out.
I think every time you do that, it ends up harming you. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're aware of it, but the other fella is Brad Wright. 2 shots, played 14 minutes, has the 2 personal fouls. He's got to get into the flow of this basketball game. He's got to play like he's played all NIT.
Brad Wright was 10 of 11 on Wednesday for this man, Walt Hazard. He missed his first shot and then made 10 consecutive field goals, most from inside the paint.
Walt's done a wonderful job with that center. He's given him the confidence, and of course the point guard, Nigel Miguel, another one whose confidence has soared under Walt Hazard.
Second half, we are tied at 29. It is Indiana ball, and Stu Robinson in the backcourt. Nigel Miguel is in there along with Melanson and Wright, and Alfred very quickly puts Indiana in front again.
Now that was a simple bump, no help whatsoever from Montel Hatcher. He just chewed Gary Melanson out, said, "You've got to talk or switch for me. Can't leave that player alone."
Put some marks on him. Montel Hatcher inside, Melanson on the turnaround, and we're even at 31.
Now, the officials have let a lot of things go. They didn't have a good half, so let's hope the game straightens out a little bit. A lot of confusion.
I think it's like parking tickets. The more you write, the better you are as a cop.
Well, you know, they're a team, too. They have to work together. It's a little harder to mesh and not sticking up for them. It's a tough enough game without knowing one another.
Now in the game for Indiana is Dan Dockich, wearing number 11. Here he is with the ball. Poked away from behind by Reggie Miller.
Now, this is what intrigues me about Bob Knight. We haven't seen Dockich at all, right? All of a sudden he starts to say, I don't know whether it's hunches or judgment. I think what he said, look, we have to rebound, we have to score. Whatever his decision was, that's why he started.
Actually, it was Patrick Knight that told his father to put him in. And he responded with a basket.
Pat knows that man pretty well, Bob Knight.
33-31, Indiana in front. We have played a minute and 20 seconds of the second half. Howard David with Bill Raftery at courtside, along with Jimmy Miller and Pat Scanlon. Scanlon in the Sports Bureau and Jimmy Meyer patrolling this fantastic building of Madison Square Garden. Nigel Miguel right up with it. This one comes out long to Stu Robinson. And here he comes in transition, slows it up in the backcourt. Off the cut again, Alfred, not there for him.
Good switch then by Melanson.
Block outside, Robinson with the line drive, and he's got it. 35-31 Indiana. All Bobby Knight teams move the ball so smartly. It's almost like it's a prototype of the right things to do.
Well, it's a lot of drills, a lot of work at it, and another deep one.
Reggie Miller, who's hit some haymakers from long range tonight. 17:45 remaining, second half. It's 35-33 Indiana. Inside block over right. Ball comes out long. Here's Nigel Miguel with a 2-on-1 with Hatcher. It is Miguel and a blocking foul on Stu Robinson.
Good call, too. Good call. Robinson moving. They took away that little passing lane here. You saw Steve Alford collapse. The nice slide by and a good call.
It's only the first foul on Stu Robinson in the ball game.
I'm going to watch the clock and see when they go to Brad Wright, when he really hasn't been in touch with the game.
Brad Wright was an understudy. Of course, you're getting a look at Nigel Miguel. Interesting the fact that this is, as a senior, playing point guard for the first time in his career at UCLA.
Well, one thing, I think, the stability. Walt Hazard walked in and he assigned different positions, and he did change his starting lineup a few times during the season. He was flexible. He thought somebody had come along and deserved the time.
Free throw is good by Nigel Miguel, a 69% free throw shooter this year. He did a great job on Shrimp of Washington earlier this year, held him to 4 points. Now you wonder, there's no wonder why he was the defensive player of the year in the Pac-10.
Now they tell me against Arizona, Eddie Smith he did a good job with. And of course, Wayne Carlander, who's a big man. He played him a little bit, I'm told. Well, they're not afraid to assign him to the premier players.
6'6". Point guards are getting taller these days, aren't they? Here's Robinson. Dockich with the notion to shoot and didn't take it away. Now Robinson. And a good rebound by Gary Melanson. I think you said it early on in the show. Melanson has got to be effective if UCLA is to win. Here's Wright.
Well, that was an accident. That ball wasn't intended for him. That was a back cut by Reggie Miller. But I guess Brad said, I'm going to nail one here. I haven't touched it enough.
35-34 Indiana. 16:55 remaining.
Good cross-court pass.
Here's Miller. Nigel Miguel looking, now goes inside. It was off the foot of Stu Robinson. Good call. Official right on top of the thing.
Nigel Miguel was sliding his pivot foot there. He got another 6 or 8 inches.
44-year-old Bobby Nice. His team is in front 35-34. Quite a contrast to the semifinal game against Tennessee when Indiana led by 12, saw the lead evaporate. Matter of fact, they fell behind. They came right back and won it by 7. Miller again.
Boys, he looked pretty when he shoots that basketball, huh? Sets up, keeps his shoulders.
UCLA takes the lead for the first time.
Bad pass.
And here's a steal. Here's Reggie Miller. We're going to get a whistle and a foul called on Dockich. I question that call. I really do.
It was a skirmish. Not a good pass against the press. It resulted in this turnover. Reggie Miller trying to do something. Dan with just deflecting the basketball. Ooh, got to question that one.
I said that UCLA has not had the lead since. They have not had the lead at all until now. They lead it by 1, and Hatcher gives it a 3-point edge. 38-35.
They got the ball into Brad Wright, and he kissed it off to the weak side. Good play.
Steve Ireland with 32. Dockich. Indiana playing perhaps a little too tentative right now.
I think the defense of UCLA has tightened up. Pressuring the passing lanes a little more.
Interesting comment by Butch Carter, a former player of Bobby Knight's. He said UCLA has a better team, but of course, obviously, as the allegiance to the Hoosiers, he said we're going to win. And right now, the Bruins are in front, 38-35. Baseline, Steve Alford on a block by Montel Hatcher.
Good
Foul is
defense.
called.
I thought Montel Hatcher did everything right there. Forced him to put it on the floor. He covered. Good position here. Good reaction with his legs. Montel was upset at that, and rightfully so.
One of those Tum specials, huh? Ooh. Alford, a 90% free throw shooter, misses the first. Tied an NIT record with 8 steals against Butler in the opening round of the NIT. Alford did. Having so much better of an NIT offensively than he had during the season. And a timeout is called. 38-36, UCLA leading Indiana. UCLA has never been to an NIT until 1985. Right now they lead by a basket.
Maybe the coach referee could expound on that.
Putting a little pressure on me, huh?
Can't stand the heat.
The one thing that has impressed me the second half is they came out and tightened up.
Reggie Miller finding the open man to Hatcher. And blocked at the rebound. He almost lost, almost walked. Here comes Indiana. Down by a basket. 15 minutes remaining. Second half. It's time for Indiana or UCLA or somebody to throw it into second gear. Excellent defensive play by Reggie Miller. Or Melanson. It was one of the two.
A very nice bounce pass in there. Of course, he couldn't get the ball in a better spot.
Indiana with 9 turnovers in the game. UCLA, Bill, with 4.
Solid.
Very solid.
Good play.
Oh, nice pass. Nice give and go.
That's twice now. Brad Wright's done something constructive when they've gotten it into him. Good cross-court pass and then that little baseline cut.
Reggie Miller with 12 points off the pretty feed from Brad Smith in the jam. Dockich. Here's Stu Robinson. Dockich trying to get free for the move. He gets around Miller, and Miller is called for the personal foul. Reggie Miller with his 3rd. As Delray Brooks comes into the game for Indiana for the first time. 6'4" freshman Delray Brooks replaces Dan Dockich. A non-shooting foul. The teams each have 2 team fouls in the second half. This is Delray Brooks. We were tied at 29 at halftime.
Montel Hatcher's been all over Steve Alford.
Inside to block. Kicks it outside to Isle. Doesn't put up the jump shot.
Gary Melanson played tag there. Faked it. His man retreated to help out down low on block.
Trying to freeze somebody to get open, and with 8 seconds to go on the shot clock, it's Brooks who puts it up, no good. Over the top block, got his hands on the ball momentarily, and then got away from it. Did not want to be charged with a bad foul. Here's Miller right away. UCLA is starting to turn it into second gear. They lead it by 6.
Indiana unable to run their cuts, their motion offense, getting tougher shots. UCLA really strong on the date.
42-36, UCLA with 13:15 remaining. Second half. Howard David with Bill Raftery at courtside of the 48th NIT Championship. Pretty pass to Brooks off Stu Robinson.
Found somebody home. Good luck. That Reggie Miller stroke is pretty. You're disappointed when it doesn't go in.
All those afternoons in the backyard playing with Sister Cheryl. Great USC standout.
Pretty good athletic family.
Sister went to USC, brother goes to UCLA. A little rivalry there on the turnaround. Reggie's got it. Reggie's hot.
He's got the flow right now. Inside, outside. Little post up. Pretty move.
In the half, UCLA's Reggie Miller is 5 for 5. He has 16 points. Away from the play, we got a whistle and a foul called on Brad Wright. That is his 3rd. And Commander Knight is getting into the game now.
Well, as it not happened, he thought his man was in good defensive position. Took the cut or the lane away from Uwe Block.
We were waiting for the time bomb to go off, and Bobby is now in the ball game. His team is down 6.
Well, they're really trying and having to work hard to get anything.
Well, here's a prime example of why UCLA led the Pac-10 Conference in field goal percentage against. Here's Block with the hook. It won't go. The follow by Isle is missed, and it is Nigel Miguel.
They're quicker to the basketball right now.
UCLA's confidence starting to grow. They go inside to right. Nice pass inside to Melanson, and it is an in-transition hit from the Hoosiers. On the turnover, Steve Alford can't make it go, and Melanson with a rebound.
That's UCLA's kind of game right now, isn't it?
Get into racehorse basketball. Here's Reggie. He wants to shoot so badly. Hatcher outside.
Reggie wants that low post with Delray Brooks on it. Get the ball over there.
6-point Bruin lead with 11:24 to go. Second half.
Little double form now. Oh.
Down goes Miller underneath, and Nigel Miguel kisses the cotton and puts UCLA up by 8.
Steve Isle put a forearm on Reggie Miller. Would have been 3 minutes. There would have been 5 major penalties in hockey.
Well, they're getting ready for WrestleMania at the Garden on Sunday night, right? 11 minutes to go, and UCLA is ahead by 8, the biggest margin either team has enjoyed. Robinson to Brooks, and a foul on Reggie Miller. You cannot believe it. Believe it, Reggie. That is 4 on you.
And a cheap one, too. The reach around.
The McCrory special.
Oh, well, he reached around. Bad play by him.
Well, 10:48 remaining. Indiana right now is on the bottom end of a 46-38 score. UCLA on top. Team final is authorized by the Ms. Lou Television Network solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, description. There is the story of the second half. UCLA on a tear.
And it's their defense forcing Indiana that poor shooting. Just a subtle little move. Montel Hatcher doing a great job on Steve Alford.
Alford got Hatcher in the air, dishes off to Delray Brooks. Corner jumper won't go. Brooks, I think, knocked it out, but they say it's off Hatcher.
Indiana, the beneficiary of that TV timeout. They had to regroup.
UCLA has run off an 8-2 spurt. They lead it by 8 points, 46-38. Inside, block. Finding Robinson with room.
You know, Bob's unable to do much when they get into him. They have people around him. He can't get into any pivot moves. Just dishing it out, and that's hurting them also.
Uwe Block has been literally shut down in the second half. He has 5 points for the game, all in the first half. Melanson on the turnaround, and he gets the roll.
Do you think Walt Hazard used a loud voice or some extra words at halftime? They came out playing hard.
Here's Delray Brooks. Started by Craig Jackson in the game now for the Bruins. Trying to free up Alfred with the jumper. It is off the mark, and it is Brad Wright with the rebound. Alfred and Block, who combined for 47 points the other night, right now have 17 between them.
Chris Montel Hatcher forcing every shot. Steve Alfred's not alone long. He's got somebody flying at him. Good work.
9:29 remaining, second half. UCLA in front, 48-40. Nigel Miguel is fouled on the way up by Steve Alford.
Bob Knight alluded to the better athletes, and in my mind, UCLA does have the better athletes, and they're showing some defensive ability.
Steve Alford has 2 personal fouls. I said that between Alford and Block, they had 17 points between them. That's because between them, they are shooting 7 of 20. Nigel Miguel with a free throw. Credit the last stat to Harry Robinson, our statistician. He is right on the money.
Harry used to be a newspaper writer. He covered me when I was a youngster.
Bree Smith in the game for Indiana, number 42, and Steve Isle goes to the sidelines. Nigel Miguel, a 69% free throw shooter, gives UCLA their biggest lead, 10, 50, 40.
And one of the keys for Indiana was not to let this club get ahead. It takes Indiana a while to score. Keep that in mind as you head down the stretch.
Brooks given room by Craig Jackson. Want to go inside the block.
They've got them keeping the ball all around the perimeter.
Here's Alfred with the pump fake on Miguel in the basket. 50-42, Bruins with 8:50 remaining. Second half. Now UCLA being a little more patient.
Well, they've done a much better job the second half, trying, getting it in deep, running their sets.
Here's Hatcher. It's short and blocked at the rebound. Taking the foul is Brad Wright. Slipped as he got up. He is hurting a little bit. But quickly gets back up the floor. Here's Block. Had to step on Wright and he lays it in. Smart play. Brad Wright is hurt a little bit, Bill.
They have been banging one another, haven't they, indeed?
Well, he got hurt when he went down.
The Blob hustled. He knew it was 5 against 4. Got down the floor. Now they're going to give the referees timeout just to...
It's Wright. Wright is hurting a little bit.
Of course, Blob keeps his arms up high, goes to the rebound, doesn't bring the ball down. Very important part. Keeping him in really a hip check. And as you mentioned, some theatrics.
8:04 remaining. In the NIT Championship Final, UCLA's Bruins trying to win their first ever title. And UCLA's shooting percentage coming down a little bit, but then again, they were shooting 73% once upon a time in this half. Indiana trailing UCLA by 6 with 7:55 to play. Brad Wright, inside pass to Jackson. And he's fouled on the way up. Uwe Block.
Pretty good reactions by the big guy, though. He got down there, he saw the ball behind him, rushed down, tried to help out on Jackson.
315 wins in Indiana for Bobby Knight, only 106 losses, a winning percentage of 75%. NIT champ in 1979. He beat Purdue that year. Beat a guy named Lee Rose who was coaching at Purdue. Now Lee's at South Florida, isn't he?
Yes, and his name is popping up at some spots.
Yeah, wow. How many guys are in line for the job at Auburn now that Sonny Smith has decided he's coming back?
Well, of course, Kentucky's the one that a lot of names are involved in, but this one's more important right now.
Here's Block on the turnaround. It doesn't go, and it is a UCLA rebound. Brad Wright.
Just completely handling the offense all the way to the conclusion, getting the rebound.
Miller not shy to put it up. Here's the rebound. With feeling, Brad Wright.
That's a break.
9 9-point UCLA lead with 7:12 to play. Delray Brooks.
Each opportunity's been a struggle offensively for Indiana.
Now look, Alfred drawing a crowd. Here's Blop inside. Fakes, puts it up. He's going to be called for a travel, and an excellent call.
You think so, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Ooh.
I do. I thought, I was waiting for it.
I thought he turned and squared up pretty good. Pumped with the off foot.
Well, you were looking up high. I was looking down low.
Always some disagreement.
Oh, why not? I don't know. You'd have to look at it again. They have 6:40 remaining.
Oh, Blop should have gotten a foul there. Just whacked Reggie Miller.
Now Stu Robinson. You get a feeling that Indiana is determined to play a little bit more physical.
Well, what they're doing in their man-to-man, as you make a cut, they step into your passing lane, and you'll see a few elbows here. There's a little welcome home message. Now, I would call that a foul.
I would call that a Lou Fontinato special. Substitution for Indiana, making his first appearance, Joe Hillman wearing number 44, and Stu Robinson goes to the sidelines. Robinson has 10 assists in this game. He tied an NIT record with 14 against Marquette, and an Indiana record as well. Diving save tried by Jackson, and it just went over the sideline.
Did you see Reggie Miller over there trying to throw it off? The Indiana man, what hustle. He didn't stop. Good pursuit.
9-point UCLA lead with 6.5 to play. Knight trying to find the right combination. Again, inside the Blop, and the turnaround, and a foul is going to be called on Brad Wright.
Uwe hasn't been able to convert many of those little tight shots. That's number 4.
That's fourth. Four personal fouls on Brad Wright, and Uwe Blop, the 74% free throw shooter to the line, had a very fine semifinal against Tennessee with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 block shots. Played on that West German national team in the recently concluded Olympics. What's your feeling on Blop in the NBA?
Well, it's like a lot of big guys. A couple of years later, they really come around. Jeff Rowland is a case in point. It takes guys a while to develop. Mike Jaminski's another one. Came into the NBA, was a good player, became better as he got in. I think the same with him. He's just a little step slow right now. His coordination, I think, is somewhat off.
Melanson comes back into the game. Brad Wright goes out. Blop on the night, 3 for 10 from the floor, although he does have 11 rebounds. Well, we have 6:15 remaining, and UCLA in front by 8. Montel Hatcher.
Delray Brooks teeing off on Reggie Miller. Yep, they got him. Can't do it all.
Nice read, coach.
All the offensive sequence there, Delray Brooks just played tag.
You know, when Walt Hazzard took over as the head coach in the preseason, he was telling me yesterday, he said, I sat in the locker room after the first preseason workout and cried because the team was in such bad shape physically.
How often do you think I cried?
Well, you cried a lot for a lot of reasons, though. Here's Hatcher. It is short, and Melanson with a follow. And a foul is going to be called on Craig Jackson over the top.
They would have been better off leaving that one go.
So Uwe Blop is fouled over the top by Craig Jackson. Each team has 16 fouls. So they're at the limit with still 5:51 remaining. And if Indiana's going to make a run, it's got to be in a hurry.
Well, again, the defense has stymied them. It's taken them a while to ring the bell.
Bree Smith back in the game. Alfred inside. Block, the stop, and a foul on Jackson. Big play by Uwe Blop.
He does some things well, though. He knows when he's free. That sounds simple, but a lot of people won't present themselves to the basketball. He knew he was alone, and of course, the great finish there. Big men love to send that one in.
53-47 UCLA. Blop can bring the Indiana Hoosiers within 5. And he does. A low-scoring game for each of these two teams.
UCLA has to get a good shot right now.
UCLA averages 69 points a game. Indiana averages 72 a game. neither team would get to that number. The shot is missed, and the rebound to Alford off the tip hand of Hillman.
Nigel McGill took it on his own. He had a play developing on the other side.
Big trip down the floor for the Hoosiers. Cree Smith. Hillman wants to go inside the block, kicks it back out to Hillman, takes it inside, and he can't make it happen.
It's
going to be on Delray Brooks.
Nice move, though. He used the left hand, Joe Hillman.
I love to watch Bobby Knight. He came off the bench and started applauding. He said, "Okay, Joe, way to go. Take it inside."
Well, that's what he did. That pump fake they do so well. And now as the defender is attracted to him, switching to the left. Not soft enough, and Delray Brooks over the top.
So Gary Melanson to the free throw line, a 71% free throw shooter with 5:03 to play. It is a 53-48 UCLA lead. Melanson 1-1 as Indiana is over the limit. So is UCLA. Big free throw. Kind of stems the tide a little bit.
Good run by Indiana. UCLA has to be smart on the offensive end.
Melanson cans them both, and UCLA with a 7-point lead. No more pressure. Why did UCLA now want to make Indiana work up the floor?
I think their half-court defense has been great.
Yeah.
And, you know, they know they can go back to it if needed.
There's Cree Smith. Hillman. Bad pass, and Hatcher with the anticipation in the air.
Oh, I thought
he almost walked.
He may have walked. Boy, instead of going in the old conventional layup, some showtime.
57-48, UCLA by 9 with 4.5 to play.
When you press, you may give up an easy basket, too. And since the half court's going so well, why not stay with it?
Yeah. Cree Smith makes it a 57-50 ball game. UCLA on top. 4:15 to play. Inside, Jackson. Using some clock. UCLA playing it smart. 4 minutes remaining and counting. 25 shot clock.
He should take him. Blob was not playing him. He did the right thing. He narrowed his way to the basket. He gave him 5 or 6 feet, and he went to him. Good heads-up play.
Yep. Uwe Block now with 4 personal fouls. And Craig Jackson to the free throw line. 1-1, a 64% free throw shooter. You know, looking over these two teams the last couple of days, I made a notation that Walt Hazard will be 43 years old on April 15th. Here's a guy with his birthday on the day your income taxes are due.
It's the day a lot of people die.
All right, 3:54 remaining. Second half, UCLA leading Indiana by 7 out of the Sports Bureau. And
that is one factor that you just can't overlook. Sidney Wicks just gave me a little wink of the eye saying this one's in the bag. I don't know yet, Coach. Bill Raftery, it's 3:54 left to play, but I'll tell you, UCLA sits in a good position because offensively, they're in their rhythm. Defensively, even more importantly, they have a good flow.
If we have any time before this night is over, we still have time left in the air, I'm going one-on-one with Myers. I'm telling you that right now because I have a height advantage. He's got the quickness.
I think I put my money on him.
Well, we're going to go. Well, he's got the quickness, but I can do the send it in.
You can't get up that high. You know, if you think of the game simply using the shot clock.
Here are the people in foul trouble. More important to Indiana if they're going to make a run, they cannot afford to have Block on the bench. UCLA is a little deeper right now. At least they're playing deeper.
He's got to convert some of those shots when they get it in deep to him.
On against Tennessee when playing, you know, against Jones and Anderson, 6'7" forwards, really. He's able to put in his little soft jumper from inside the paint. He's not been able to do that tonight against Wright.
UCLA's had a lot of help down there, too, though. He doesn't have room to turn and do his foot movement.
3:51 remaining. Regulation time. It is UCLA by 7, 57-50. Reggie Miller on the outside. Inside it goes to Melanson. He lost control, saved it, and found its way into the hands of Reggie Miller. 13 to go on the shot clock. Dangerous pass. Hatcher hounded by Hillman with 6 to go on the clock. Over a block, the long shot. The back of the iron. and finds its way with radar in.
There is charity in the East.
59-50 Bruins. That one shot might have broken Indiana's back with 3 minutes to go in the game. Hillman, top of the circle. Long rebound, and is Delray Brooks finding Cree Smith with room, and he's got it. A 7-point game.
Indiana hanging.
Melanson got a step and wisely uses some clock. Here's Hatcher. Bad time to take the shot. He only had used 15 seconds on the shot clock.
Exactly. He was hoping to get the same kind of bounce.
Smith almost walked. Here's Alford from the corner. It won't go. Long rebound, and Hillman with a fresh 45. Delray Brooks baseline air ball. Touched by Melanson as it goes out of bounds. Indiana still with a life with 2:12 to play. As Craig Jackson checks into the game for Gary Melanson.
Delray Brooks so pumped up. He really stroked that one long.
Indiana on the trigger to Hillman. Now Brooks. If you put up that air ball, you're a little tentative the next time around. Here's Block on the turnaround. Misses everything.
Well, that's got to kill you.
Oh, there's helium. There is helium in the Indiana shots. They're sailing. Minute and 55 remaining. And UCLA that much time away from their first ever NIT championship in their first ever NIT appearance.
Hillman with the foul, and really, Nigel Miguel didn't have any place to go. He's lucky he did draw the foul. Would have been better to back it out and run their set.
Nigel Miguel, a very unhappy group of Indiana Hoosier cheerleaders, but they shouldn't be. Maybe Indiana might not win this game today, but Indiana's had an excellent year, and a year that has been riddled with strifes and problems that everybody has read about, and yet they're still 19-winner basketball team.
Of course, you had a shot of Walt Hazard in the middle of your comments, and you have to commend him.
Oh, yeah.
I think at the half, whatever he said, he ought to write down. They came out playing good, sharp defense, got better shots, got the ball in deep and kicked it to the wings. Some smart things.
Nigel Miguel has been, I think, the factor. 18 points and 8 assists. Minute 47 to play.
The other problem, too, for Indiana right now is they're not a good full-court defensive team, so they don't pressure you real well. They don't trap out of it, and you can't get that quick steal and the basket or at least a good shot in the follow-up.
Here's Robinson with room to shoot. They won't go for the Hoosiers. Brad Wright with the rebound. I think Nigel Miguel, our Mercedes' most valuable player. Number 25, the man with the ball right now.
And, of course, the tip of my hat to Montel Hatcher for that great defensive job also.
And Miller also. Reggie Miller had a fine game. Good balance attack, and there's a bad pass. Cree Smith didn't turn around fast enough to see Alford. Tries to take it himself. It goes. Wright trying to draw the foul. No call there, and it was a 7-point game with a minute to go.
Full court pressure now.
Uncharacteristic Indiana. Jackson puts it up, it doesn't go, and that's going to foul Uwe Block out of the ball game.
I was surprised UCLA went.
I am too. You know what it is? Nigel Miguel stopped and looked and saw what was going on, and all of a sudden his instincts took over.
Well, of course, the foul out, Bob Knight, distraught really with the big man fouling out. But that's a case where you have to bring that basketball back out, and you can really run a lot of clock and put Indiana away.
Uwe Block fouls out of the ball game with 11 points. He had 12 rebounds, which is a nice night rebounding-wise, but the bottom line is all that really counts, doesn't it, Coach, in basketball?
Well, you like to win.
And the name of the game is to score more than the other guy. Right now, UCLA is doing it effectively with 54 seconds remaining. At the time that UCLA has had the lead since they took it over with the 14-minute mark to go in this half, and they've consistently maintained that 7, 8, 9-point lead.
And I'm really impressed by what took place at the halftime. I mean, they just got back, composure, got better shots, the defense tightened up. Good second half for UCLA.
I heard a very strange report earlier today, and I'd like to comment on it. Strange report I heard was that a possible successor to Joe B. Hall at Kentucky was one Bobby Knight.
I don't believe that.
I think it's a little far-fetched. I didn't start the rumor, but I heard it this afternoon. The story emanated from Kentucky. Shot is missed.
Boy, is that indicative of their inside play.
And Delray Brooks with the follow with 41 seconds remaining. And a 7-point UCLA lead. A 5-point UCLA lead. Correction, 61-56. UCLA by 5 with 41 seconds remaining in the second half. I've enjoyed this year's NIT for a couple of reasons. One, the field was so very attractive, and my compliments to Pete Carlissimo and the NIT committee for putting together a super field. UCLA having trouble inbounding it. They did not get it in. They did not get it in 5 seconds.
Right.
And the referee, Diaz, was running out onto the floor just as the ball left his hand. And so it'll be Indiana ball with 41. Now the key is that no time ran off on the clock. 41 seconds.
Good call. Alert. Of course, Indiana has to score quickly and get set again.
Here's Brooks looking for the man with the money. Alfred kicks it in the corner. The crease. Smith in the basket. 61-58. Indiana has 2 timeouts remaining. They now have 1.
And of course, Delray Brooks caught the ball as it came through the net to make sure UCLA couldn't get it to out of bounds and get set up. You're right. 1 left. Good chance for them to get another steal or cause a turnover. Now, you mentioned the NIT committee, and just talking to the kids, they've enjoyed the tournament so much. Great time of year.
UCLA looking for the inbound with 32 seconds to play. Reggie Miller finally calls for timeout.
And what Bobby Knight did, or had his players do, didn't guard the inbounder. Steve Alford was the zone or the free safety, and he was looking for the logical pass receiver. They fronted the people on the floor, just couldn't find anybody.
61-58 UCLA. With 32 seconds remaining, and this time they changed the trigger man. It is Corey Gaines. And looking for the long bomb to Miller. It's not there. Corey on the release, and Hatcher is fouled over the top by Stu Robinson. That is his 3rd. So Montel Hatcher, a 74% free throw shooter, to go to the line with 31 seconds remaining. Reggie Miller just threw something at you.
I didn't say anything bad, Reggie. Something on the floor he tossed our way.
Maybe he read your book. Hatcher gives UCLA a 4-point lead.
You love that, huh? When a player sucks it up, stands there comfortably, and nails it.
And a sophomore.
Oh.
It is still a 4-point lead. They put it in Alfred's hands to make it happen.
Score.
Behind the screen. Hits the basket and a timeout.
They got it.
Indiana's last timeout, I think. I think that is. It is Indiana's last timeout. It is 62-60 with 22 seconds remaining.
Gentlemen, a quick trip to the UCLA benches showed a nervous Walt Hazzard, but he seems to be pretty well under control as far as his plan is concerned. The most important thing to get the ball inbounds right now.
22 seconds remaining. Laws pass, and here's Reggie for the send it in that may have sent UCLA to the championship. 64-60. Bruins with 12. Inside aisle, banks it home with 9, with 8.
No timeouts left.
We're getting a whistle.
It's just an inadvertent fall now.
And Nigel Miguel did one of the best Barrymores I've seen lately.
Well, the only thing now is they have to get a 5-second violation. Only 4 left.
64-62 UCLA.
That was a break there. effort. I'll tell you, Indiana got a great break because the clock should have run out. Indiana didn't have any timeouts. That call there was some break for Indiana.
Yes.
The clock should have run out without inbounding the ball, but when he fell, the referee stopped the clock, let Indiana get set up.
Right.
An unbelievable break. And, well, Hazard is just upset, indignant. Oh.
After this game is complete, I think that Hazard and his coaching staff, well, here it is.
Well, they tried for that earlier. Reggie Miller this time made a great fake to the ball and then went back towards his basket. A gamble pass that paid off.
Here it is.
Now, Corey Gaines runs the baseline, which sets this up. It's after a basket. The gamble pass, but you can see how wide open after setting his feet up. Cree Smith lost way deep in the floor. An excellent pass, and I mean a gamble.
Paid off. 16 points for Steve Alford to lead Indiana. Block fouled out with 11 points and 12 rebounds, and Cree Smith had 10. Corey Smith in the inbound. No foul. Here's the foul with 1 second remaining. Stu Robinson pointing up to the clock saying it should be 2 seconds. It's really academic. Because to the free throw line will be Brad Wright.
Well, what a controversy over that play. If UCLA happened to lose this basketball game or tied and went into overtime, and they stopped the clock, Indiana could get set up. Ooh.
Our thanks to Harry Robinson, our statistician here at courtside, for another sparkling job after Wednesday night. Pat Scanlon in the Sports Bureau, and Jimmy Myers been working the floor for us. UCLA can now say it is history. They lead it 65-62. Here's the long shot at the buzzer. It is all over. UCLA wins their very first National Invitation Tournament Championship. They beat Indiana 65.